Welcome back to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across the UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I'm joined by the awesome Trevor Bundus. Hi, Trevor.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. All's well.
So Trevor's on the show today because he's founder of Performance Golf, which is a really cool concept of having a golf simulator, something that is super hot popular in the UAE right now. Please, Trevor, tell me your story and what inspired you to start this cool company.
So I grew up on the coldest part, maybe on the planet, in the middle of Canada, and the weather is, of course, the complete opposite from here. So in Canada, we have 6 months of winter. Everybody's inside. It's not much to do in terms of outdoor sports. It's a little bit dangerous because it's cold out. And when I moved here, it was the exact opposite. So it was, let's say, from May until, well, almost now October. It's a little bit too hot for people to enjoy themselves outside. So that lends itself to indoor sports. And one of the things that's really popular in Canada is an indoor golf facility. And they're almost everywhere. And this has been going on since, I don't know, probably the 90s when I was in university. So when I came here, I was actually outside at Saadiyat Beach and I was practicing on the driving range, and it was just like I was getting a headache and it wasn't enjoyable. You can't really practice properly, so I thought there must be a better solution to this problem. And then, of course, I went and looked across the globe, but the simulator company that I partnered with was oddly enough from Toronto. So yeah, I gave them a call and I flew back to Toronto for the weekend and went to see them in their facility. And I decided when I saw the actual technology that this was something that was going to change the way people view the sport and also change the way people practice and improve. And that's primarily what happened. So I put the money in and we started the business of 2014. So 11 years ago, actually, which was a long time. And we were way ahead of the curve because people were really not sure what it was. They didn't realize that you use real golf balls. They haven't used it where it's been so accurate. You were used to hit into a screen and then it would like think about it for a minute and then you would see the ball flight. And this one is was just like as soon as you hit it, it's there. And it's exactly like the result or the feeling that you get when you're practicing. The only difference is that I can control the temperature. and I can implement technology which wasn't really available in the market. And actually, to be totally honest, after this long, it's still not really properly available in the marketplace. So we were really the leaders in moving the sport indoors. But as I said, it was just us replicating an idea that existed in Canada and then taking the technology that this company had and using it for improvement, which is primarily mostly what we do for the business.
But that's super cool. The fact that you're able to take something and bring it to a whole new market, a whole new part of the region, a whole new climate in the region as well. Like obviously, like things like indoor simulators weren't, that wasn't a thing here. As you said before, people thought it was more of like a Nintendo game. What kind of
Yeah.
challenges came along with introducing this to the market here?
So yeah, like as I said, I mean, people they didn't really understand what the concept was. I think people have a good idea of what a flight simulator is, right? But then that's obviously for airplanes, and not everybody's going to want to fly an airplane or like do that. So it's not common for sports, and still actually it's in its infancy. Uh, People, I don't want to say they didn't trust it, but they didn't have any exposure. So what I had to do for the first part of the business was basically educate the market. And at that point, there wasn't really any competition either. And people always think like, oh, there's competition, it's going to hurt my business. It's actually the complete opposite. What it did was, as people started to buy equipment, and some of the equipment companies in the market started to open retail stores with a golf simulator inside of it, all of a sudden people realized, oh, okay, this is a really useful tool. And they actually did half the marketing for me because people were going to use it to buy golf equipment and then thinking like, oh, this is really useful information. I get all this data from the swing, and I must be able to apply this to like golf lessons, basically. And so as soon as there was more competition in the market, it actually made things much better. Sometimes if you open up a business and you think that you're the first to market, it's actually much more difficult than being the second to market. And only because you have to go through a very long period of education about what this is. I needed to rely a lot on my network to start to talk about it. And the results of what happened when you use it to train were not, uh, nobody really knew what they're going to get. And it's a service based business. So primarily we coach people, we teach them how to play. Um, that has obviously its benefits as well. But people were not used to learning a sport in a room that you normally play outside. So that disconnect was evident right from the start. But as I said, I already lived here in the UAE for I moved in 2006. So like I'd already lived here for like 7 years. So I mean, I was playing a lot of golf. I had a good network. That made it a little bit easier. When I started the business, I already had customers. I had people who were interested in testing it out. So it was good. The other thing was I didn't realize the importance of the location, and
Mm.
so I opened it up inside of a sports like facility, thinking that people that want to go there will play or want to people that are there are interested in sports, but actually that was not really the case. There was little to no visibility, and as I said, people were not familiar enough with it. So if I wasn't in front of their face, there was no curiosity. So choosing the location is really, really important. I mean, you can't. My advice is not to start a business where people can't see you, and sometimes it's cheaper, but you really have to do a lot more money on marketing. Whereas your location, as long as you're in front of people, they can see you and they're curious, and they walk in and they start to talk about you. And so you have to choose wisely where you want to put your facility or where you want to have your business, and it needs to be in an area where you've also understood the people that are living around you. I mean, you can also be on the street, right? But you can be on the street in the middle of an industrial area and nobody's ever going to come. So you have to be really, really careful before you jump in to not spend a lot of money on a place and then nobody knows what it is or they don't come inside the door. It's not really clear to them. They're hesitant to do it. So yeah, you got to be careful of these things when you're starting things up.
Nice. And I appreciate you jumping to the questions ahead as well. Like you've already answered the importance of the location. You've answered me about kind of the challenges of people adjusting to something new and being able to teach them something in a whole new environment that they're not familiar to before, like as you said, teaching a sport indoors. I'm curious, is there like a specific moment or kind of a milestone or something that really made an impact on you in this journey?
I do also stuff with parents and kids. And almost the same story. One of the dads was working in Ruwais. He's actually a Korean guy, and his son was here. And so his wife, as a surprise, asked me to start teaching his son, who was 9. And then his father came back for a weekend from Ruwais to Abu Dhabi, and he entered into one of my parent and child golf tournaments. And the guy started like crying after he watched his son play. And I said, I said, are you okay? He said, oh man, this is a dream. I can't believe it. My son is so good. I didn't know he was so good. My wife surprised me. Now I can play golf with my son. In Korea, this type of thing is never possible. We don't have the ability. There's no golf courses to do it. Nobody tries to like piece everybody together. So I was like, So in my head, I was thinking there's something a little bit different about this business because actually what you're doing, you're not only teaching somebody a skill, you're basically plugging them into some sort of important social relationship, either with their family or with their friends, or lots of people play. I have a lot of corporate leagues. They play in these leagues because they want to network, or they don't have a positive way to meet people. I mean, people
Mm.
live in the UAE. They come here. They do what everybody else does. They go to brunch, right? And in my mind, that's not the best way to I don't know, forge a relationship with somebody. I'm not talking about, like deep relationships. I just mean like, friends or make acquaintances or meet people from other countries. There's no way for people to do it. So what started out as a golf business basically turned into a social business. And that's what people really want. They want to use sport as a community tool. as a way to have some familiarity with other people that they wouldn't otherwise have any other reason to talk to, right? I mean, people from different countries of different languages normally don't seek each other out because they're so unfamiliar to each other. But when they have a game that they have a skill at a certain level that they're at, like let's say they're all beginners or they're all like very good players, then they have some sort of common ground to start the relationship. And that's really what you need. So when we come here as expats, it's hard. And I don't think that people are really focused on helping people to do it in a positive way. I mean, I know the government has some initiatives and whatever, but usually people just try to operate their businesses in silos. And I started to take a different approach because of those nice stories that ended up happening to me. It kind of like made me realize that there's a lot more to this sport and this business than what I think it is. It's not just a transaction. Like I teach you a skill and then you take off and do whatever you want. I mean, it's a long journey that people take, and the sport is the thing that puts them together. So really, we just try to facilitate that. Just back maybe to the previous questions, like a lot of people want to learn in privacy. You know, like
Mm.
doing a sport which is difficult and sometimes embarrassing because you miss the ball, right? You're trying to hit it. It looks so easy, but it's really, really quite difficult. Is not it's not easy for people who want to try to go out to a golf course where it's their impression that people are already professionals, that it's kind of a clique, like I don't belong here, or I don't look like I'm a old rich guy that's retired and is normally playing golf. Whereas if you have a way or an inlet that they can do it privately, then they really attach themselves to it. But yeah, like it was just it was hard at the start to get people to understand that this isn't just about learning a sport. This is about playing with colleagues at work or playing with peers in other companies, but still within the same industry, or being able to go and take your kids out. I mean, I'm in my mid 40s and my kids are young, but I took my daughter to the golf course the other day. It's amazing, right? And she hit like 3 or 4 shots, but it was just a nice experience that I had. So it really turned into something that I didn't really expect, which was great.
Well, that's beautiful, Trevor. I mean, what an incredible story. And thank you for bringing something so awesome to the culture here, to the sports sector here, something that people probably totally unexpected, but definitely a change. And like you said, it's a way
Yeah.
to forge new relationships and develop really important social skills. So thank you for sharing your story.
Cheers.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.